Hello folks, and welcome back to another video. I hope you're well. So in today's video is a bit of a sad one, and something I didn't think I'd have to do or say or even bring up, and that is I've got to sell my Canon stuff. Now the reason why is I've been spending a lot of money recently. I've been having to buy gear because I plan on doing some product stuff and some photo shoots and stuff like that, and I've also the expense of like staying in the hotels for longer than what I originally planned on. So if you're unaware, I've moved from Australia to England. I originally thought it was going to take me 2 months to find a house. It took me 4 months to find a house, and in that time I was staying in hotels, which gets expensive, and then especially eating out gets expensive. So I've decided, looking at the amount that I've got in my bank account, it has to go my Canon. Now I know I said I'd never sell my Canon 5D Mark IV, and I recently purchased this camera, the Canon 1DC, which is a fantastic camera, which is a 1DX basically with 4K capabilities. So yeah, it's a beautiful camera, and same goes for the 5D Mark III, the 5D Mark IV here. It's just stunning. I've taken the L bracket off of it. I do have a buyer lined up, and they're going to send a box over. Now, the people that I'm selling my gear to, I have actually purchased gear from them. I've got actually some more gear coming from them, and it was just so easy for me. Sure, I'm losing a little bit of money, but what I'm getting is security. I'm not going to get messed around. I'm also in the phases of setting things up as well, so I don't want to be, taking too much time away from what I need to be putting my time and money into. It's going to be such a shame to see all this lovely glass go. So here's my other lovely lens right here, the Canon 16-35 f4 LIS. It's just a beautiful lens, lovely and sharp. I picked this one up when I was in Australia, along with the 5D, but since I've been in England, I picked up the 1DC right here, which I do love. By the way, we're recording this on the Fujifilm X-T4. I've got everything back, as you can probably tell. Here is my other lens I'm selling, getting rid of. This is the 24-105 f4 LIS version 2, and it is just a lovely lens, this one. I was expecting to have it on for a bit longer. All good things must come to an end, and yeah, and this is definitely one of those times. You just have to know when to call it. And this is my other lens that I'm getting rid of, the Canon 100-400 f4.5 to 5.6, and yeah, this thing is just lovely and beautiful and just so sharp, and it's one of my favourite lenses that Canon sells. It's just remarkable. Yeah, if I was to buy a Canon again, then I would definitely buy all these lenses again. Maybe not the 24-105. I did find it's still soft in the corners, not what I'd like, but still, it's not a bad lens at all. What does this mean? What am I going to be going to now? Well, it's a camera that surprised me when I moved over here. Now, I picked up this camera when I got here. I think I picked it up in October when I got to Newcastle, and I wanted something that was going to be a bit fun, that was going to be low-key, and yeah, I never thought it would grow into what it is. If it wasn't for me buying this camera, I would be still sticking with my Canon stuff. I find I'm picking this camera up way more than this, which is a huge surprisement to me, because I never thought the Fuji would take its place. You might remember I made a video ages ago, it feels like now, when I went out with the X-T4, and I just was not happy with the images that I was getting from it, because the glass problems I had in the corners, it was soft, like a third into the frame from the corners, it was soft. I had that with the 16-80mm f4, I had it with the 10-24 f4. What other lens do I have it with? I don't think I had it too much with the 55-200s, but ever since I've been using primes like this lens right here that we're recording this on, this is the 23mm f1.4, and it's a beautiful lens. This is not the version 2, it's the original version, and it's just lovely and sharp and silent to focus as well. And I'm not having any problems. People say the Fuji, when it comes to autofocus, that it's not accurate. I'm finding it more accurate than the Canon, to be honest, with all the latest firmware updates. Same with this. I've been using the XT3 for a lot of my videos, and yeah, it's just stunning. So what I've ended up doing, since we are getting rid of the Canon, bought myself a second XT3. Now you might be wondering, why am I buying an XT3 and why am I buying more gear if I'm selling my gear? Well, the problem I have is I bought myself a Rhino rig slider, the Arc 2, and I plan on doing a lot of time-lapse work with that. Now the 1DC right here was going to be my camera of choice for time-lapses, but since I'm getting rid of this guy, I don't want to put this guy under another burden. You know, it's doing time-lapses, you take thousands of photos, and that isn't what I want to put this camera through. So I ended up going for another XT3. It says it's in good condition. I've got no idea what the shutter count is, and I went for one in silver. The reason why I went for silver is because I want this to be my dedicated stills camera, and that other one to be my dedicated time-lapse camera. The last thing I want to do is pick up the wrong camera when I want to go and do a time-lapse shoot, because that camera is I'm going to basically run it into the ground. So yeah, I'm going to get the shutter replaced. I'll have this guy dedicated for my stills photography. Now I do have actually a new lens on here, which is a macro lens, and it actually gets a 2:1 ratio, I think it is. So this is what I'll be using to scan my film negatives and digitalize them and run it through some software, which one of my friends, Nolan in South Africa, told me about this software, and that's what I'm going to use. And yeah, so the XT3, or even the other one that I'm going to get, I'll be able to do that. And yeah, looking forward to it. And I've taken some test images around the house, and I love this. I can't get over the XT3, and yeah, the image quality using primes over the zooms seems to be a lot better. Oh yeah, and another thing with the Fuji X system, I find using the Canon adapter, so if I'm using vintage glass, do I have a lens out here? No? No I don't, hang on, I'll go and grab it. So yeah, I can use lenses like this lens right here, which is my Canon 50mm 1.8 FD lens. I think this was made in the 70s. It's a lovely lens, it's got its imperfections, but that's its character. It's just a lovely little lens. And yeah, and with this adapter, it allows me to use it on my Fuji. Now I did use this lens once on my Canon M50, and I found the adapter wasn't as good, and I didn't get sharp results from this lens like I do on this camera here, which is quite a surprisement, because I was thinking, well, maybe it's not worth keeping. Maybe I'll just wait until I get a 35mm film camera, which sort of kills it for me, because why would I want to do that when I could just shoot in medium format? And I don't like taking a heap of frames, and I like using the medium format camera. And the medium format camera is... Sorry, I'm getting everything out of my humidity control cabinet where I keep all of my camera gear, so I make sure it's nice and safe. So yeah, the camera that I've been using, you would have seen it in Australia. So this is my lovely camera, the Bronica ETR medium format camera, which takes film, obviously, but it's a beautiful camera. It really is lovely, and yeah, I do love it. You would have seen videos taken with this when I went to Franklin River retreat. I also went to Kalbarri National Park. I also took this camera up a mountain, and it's just an absolute beauty to use, and it will get a lot of use. So, you know, me selling the Canon stuff is a shame, but I will be doing more stuff with film. I've just got to work out a place that will develop the film that I'm going to be happy with. One of you on YouTube told me that I should develop my own film, and I do plan on doing that, but I have to have a load of volume for it to be worthwhile, because the chemicals, they go off after a certain amount of time, and I've also got to get the water filtered as well. Or you can buy distilled water, but yeah, when I was in Perth in Western Australia, I was talking to the guys at Silverhide Studios, which I highly recommend if you're looking to get your film developed and you live in Perth, Western Australia, or you live in Australia. send your film over to Silverheart Studios. You put it in you can get it in a lead light bag. So if it goes through an X-ray thing, it's not going to damage your negatives. And yeah, Silverheart Studios can develop that for you. They gave me tips on how to develop my film and everything. So yeah, that was really good. So yeah, I'll be developing my own film hopefully in the future. I've got some of the chemicals, I've got some of the tanks and everything that I need, and some of the tools, and I could probably hang it up in the my little wardrobe there, which has got a bunch of light stands, bunch of light modifiers and tripods, and you name it, it's in there. Except I don't have a bag full of money in there, which is rather sad. So yeah, I've still got that camera. I've got also my Canon M50 infrared, which is this guy right here. I had this converted when I was in Australia. It's not the best camera in the world. It's and neither is the glass, but to give me images that I want, this camera delivers. And I've got my lovely small rig L bracket on there, which I do love. I do love their products. I'm not affiliated with them, though I would love to be in the future. And let's just look at that lovely black sensor. So this has been converted to 720 nm, and what I do is a lot of black and white photography with it, and it just gives you a different look on the world. So around here in England, when it will be summer, everything will be green and lush, and you know, you've got boring sunny days. This camera will come into its light. So when you've got blue skies, you can put a polarizing filter on and get really dark black skies when you're facing away from the sun, I found, especially when I was at the Stirling Range National Park, and then I found that out. So yeah, I've still got that. So I've still got my medium format film camera right here. I've got my Fujifilm X-T3 to shoot stuff on, and I've got my M50 infrared camera to shoot stuff on. I've also got a vintage lens in here, which you have not seen yet, and I will be doing a shoot with this one day. In remarkable condition. I've had a really cheap price for it, and these go for quite a bit of money now. I do also have, to go with the Fuji, since I'm losing my 100-400, I bought myself a Fuji 100-400 as well. Out of the money that I'm losing, I'm making about 2/3 of my money back from selling my Canon stuff, and I'm getting some other stuff. So yeah, and the money that I get from my camera gear will go towards buying a car, because that's the next thing I need. And I'm budgeting for that about £2,500 to £3,000, and then budgeting for insurance about probably about £1,000, because insurance is not cheap here. And I'll just go with a cheap company. I don't expect it to pay out, but it allows me to have insurance. And going, you know, fire and theft still isn't any cheaper. So I also hope you like the lighting in this video as well. I'm stepping my game up. So before, I just used to use my little light off to the side here. I'll just turn it off and not turn it back on so you can actually see what it's doing. So yeah, it's quite a difference. So yeah, that just gives a nice little bit of feel now. I used to use it as my main light when I was in Australia. And now I've got a new light up above, which is made by Small Rig. It's got a nice little softbox on it, as well as a grid, which allows me to really sort of tuck in that light. Otherwise I would get a load of spill onto the background, which I'm getting a little bit. That wall is quite shiny. I'd rather something a bit matte, but it seems to be a gloss. I might put some panelling up back there, because this room where I'm in, which is new, I've just moved, everything has just got here about a week ago. I didn't have any stuff here, and now I've got all this stuff around me, which is fantastic, and it's lovely to be back in my office and all my stuff around me, and I'm still getting things sorted, and it's just wonderful. I got my space. Yeah, hope you like it, because it's just going to get better from here. I just want to pick up the production value, and yeah, it's just lovely being able to shoot with a nice fast aperture lens and really sort of blow out that background. But I do have another lens as well, but that's manual focus, but I'll go into that in another time. Okay, so it's time to wrap up this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Definitely sad that my Canon setup is going. I do love it, but you know, you got to know when to call it, and I definitely know it's the right time now. So yeah, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'm Simon, and I look forward to seeing all of you in the next one. Okay, take care and goodbye.